why do I still have cancer? Why will I always have cancer? Like, why did that happen to me? Chemo tried to kill me, but you bounced back.
Summer of 2025, Clara first shared her story with us. Less than a year later, she still has cancer, but her treatment and her outlook have changed completely.
Times when none of my clothes fit because of a tumor in my pelvis, and I cried in dressing rooms because of you. I wanted to write this tribute to my body, like honoring it for keeping me alive. Gained a couple pounds, but it's kept me alive. And it survived like all these things, and all these things I went through in the hospital. I went into sepsis. I almost died. It's frustrating, and I do want to give up sometimes. It is hard to be like positive all the time about cancer or the fact that I still have cancer. Today is a very special day. It is my 1 year cancerversary. I'm now a year into this, and I've gone through all this treatment. I've done 7 rounds of chemo, 10 rounds of radiation. I was doing immunotherapy throughout the summer, and then in August I had scans, and they were really great. It showed that my treatment had been working, and there was a lot of shrinkage. Either different parts of my cancer were shrinking, or it was staying stable. And then I had my next 3 month scans in like early November. And those scans came back horrible. It showed that everything was growing. My cancer had also spread to my spleen at that time too. The report literally said worsening metastatic disease. Just 3 months prior in August, scans were great. And I had a lot of like hope and optimism back in August. So to get those results in November, it was, like I said, devastating. We also had scheduled surgery on my pelvic tumors to be done December 1st. We decided to start an aggressive chemo treatment again, which was it was a different drug. We started it immediately and then had to push off surgery indefinitely at that point. And so that was hard for me because I so desperately want to get these pelvic tumors out because they caused me so much discomfort and pain. I did chemo round 7, which again put me into the hospital for another 10 days. And so I was just getting chemo, I was getting sick again and again. And so after that 7th round, and I was in the hospital up until the day before Thanksgiving, and it was just so frustrating. And I had just actually decided I'm done. I'm done with chemo. Like, I'm putting my body through so much, and I also felt like I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I felt like I was doing chemo for everybody else and not for me because I felt like, well, they want me to do chemo because they want me to like stay alive, which of course I want to stay alive too, but I'm the one that has to go through it, and I'm the one that has to put my body through that. And like it's it's so hard like on my body and on my organs like to get that sick all the time. And so I decided I'm done. I'm done with treatment. I'm not doing it anymore. And that was a hard decision for me to make because I knew what that meant. That means that my cancer may get worse. And then there's nothing that can be done if I'm not willing to do treatment. My oncologist had ordered another set of Tempest testing, which is testing for genetic mutations. And so they sent another biopsy sample in, and it came back that I was ALK positive, which my oncologist was shocked to see because he hadn't seen anybody evolve into a mutation that wasn't there previously. He was like, okay, we're gonna stop chemo, which I had already decided to anyway. And he said with ALK positive, they have a targeted therapy available. And this is amazing news because this therapy has shown great results with often longer prognosis, and the best part is it's not chemo. Targeted therapy is just a pill that I take every day in replacement of chemo, and it has way less side effects than chemo does. The specific one that I'm on, a third generation TKI is what it's called, of the targeted therapy that's available for ALK positive patients. That's just specific to non-small cell lung cancer. I've only done about 30 days of these pills. And so far, I've had very minimal side effects, and I think I'm responding to it pretty well. I now no longer need a walker or a cane, which has been fantastic for like my life, and I'm able to like drive again and everything, which is so nice and has given me obviously a more sense of independence. I'm so happy that I showed ALK positive and that the targeted therapy was available. Like I said, I was stopping treatment, and who knows what would happen to me and what that would have entailed. My next scans will determine if I'm still eligible for surgery. So that's why I'm really hopeful for things being stable or shrinking so I can have surgery on those pelvic tumors. If I go through with the surgery, it will remove both of my ovaries, which will remove the opportunity for me to ever have my own biological children. I looked into freezing my eggs, but it is so costly. I never thought I'd have a hysterectomy at 30 years old, and it just makes me really sad that that decision was made for me. It is hard to think that I won't ever have a kid that looks like me or inherits traits that I have. Like, I'm very artistic, and I would want my kid to be artistic and creative. And so that's been something I've kind of struggled with and, talked a lot about in therapy. What keeps me going is I want to keep living. My dad always tells me to focus on the big things and like focus on the fact that I'm still alive and how grateful I am to still be alive and that I still get to spend time with my loved ones. I'm at my dad's house, which is in Dallas Center, which is a very small town, a little further away from Des Moines. But it's where I grew up. What's nice about my dad's house is he has a nice big yard, and so I actually was able to adopt a dog, and which has been really great. He has given me so much purpose and has definitely been a reason to wake up in the morning and provided me with a lot of structure and routine. People don't know anything about cancer because a lot of people haven't been touched by cancer in any way. I speak to the person who doesn't know anything. And so I think that's really important because it educates people on what others are going through, and it also I want to normalize a lot of things because I think a lot of topics are very like taboo. Like, for example, sometimes I have to wear adult diapers, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, but a lot of people would be uncomfortable sharing that. I wear adult diapers due to incontinence, not because of chronic diarrhea. I share a lot of this stuff, educationally and making people feel less alone and normalizing different side effects. Hopefully, I'll live for a long time on this targeted therapy. It's given me a new sense of hope. There's a lot of great things that can come from cancer research. The research is always evolving and they're always coming out with new things and trying, new trials and new ways of treating cancer. And so, of course, the funding for that research is so important. Don't lose hope. There may not be an option for you today, but give it a couple months or give it a year, and maybe there will be something improved that can help.
If you were moved by this story, we think you'll also enjoy this one, which we've queued up for you right here on your screen. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the patient story right here so that you can be notified about all of our recent uploads. Thank you for watching. You are not alone.